I get to do it. Sound tape.
Sure.
Cut. What? Is it clap?
Yeah.
Cut. I'm Jason Stapleton. I'm a member of the Maritime Heavy Armour costuming group, and Carmine, Anthony Carmine from the Gears of War video game series.
My name is Chief Petty Officer Art Forward, and it really is Chief Petty Officer Art Forward. I spent 30 years in the Royal Canadian Navy. My most famous one is the Halo Master Chief, and I enjoy that tremendously, but it was I made it for a smaller me.
My name's Scott O'Coin. I am one of the founding members of Maritime Heavy Armour. Originally known for doing a Stormtrooper back in Hal-con 2010.
Now we have a table at the convention where we perform repairs to people's costumes, and it has become a tremendous success. Something that blew up beyond, I think, all of our expectations.
Inevitably, things would break. So we realized this has got to happen to everybody, especially the first time somebody wears a costume. And in Hal-con, you're there all day. If this is the first time you've worn the costume, and a lot of people only finish this the morning of Hal-con.
They've had a piece come off or something's broken, and it really can ruin a person's weekend. And what the young guys or the folks behind the table are able to do is put things back together for them and allow them to carry forward and enjoy the con without worrying about you know, this is broken or that's broken or I have to hold this up.
We'll give you a 10-minute warranty on it, but like, we're not masters of the craft. We'll be able to put you back together for the next 10 minutes, and if you're doing the costume contest, like, yeah, we'll myself and one of our other members, Cameron, we walk that line with all the parts to make sure we can get everybody back together. And
we will send our crew down with repair gear, hot glue gun, tape, super glue, twist ties, zip ties, everything, to go down and wander the lines for the costume contest, seeing if anybody needs any last minute repairs. And oftentimes somebody's like, oh, thank God, my strap just broke and I need to be on stage in 5 minutes. So that's probably the biggest service we provide at Hal-con.
So in a group like Maritime Heavy Armour, there can be a number of things that'll affect you personally, memories that will mean things to you. They can be funny, they can be touching, they can be both.
We're walking along the waterfront, and as Carmine, I don't get a lot of instant recognition, not like Master Chief or Stormtrooper would, which are some of the other MHA guys early on. So when I get recognition as, hey, it's, you know, Gears of War, it's like, yeah, great, you got it. But when I hear somebody say, hey, it's Carmine, it's like, oh my God, you really got it. And if they get Anthony, even better. I had one 4 or 5-year-old kid recognize me as Anthony Carmine. She came running up to me, oh my God, it's Carmine, want to get a picture? And it was great. I got down, posed with them, let them hold the gun. I had my own prop weapon that I'd made, which was out of the blue styrofoam that you see around the basements of houses. Fast forward 9 months later, when it was the following year at Quantum Frontier during Free Comic Book Day, we'd shown up, we were doing barbecue and other things, so we were in costume, and I was there as Carmine again, when suddenly from the front entrance of the store I heard, Carmine! It was the same little kid, and she had her sibling with her. Came running over to get pictures again, and the parents came out and had a great time with the kids again. And the father said, listen, I noticed you've got a handmade prop there. I said, did you never get one of the original guns? And I was like, no, they're really expensive, like $300 on eBay. I can never get something like that. And he said, well, I just happen to have one here with me. And I was like, okay, now I'm on the hook for, he's probably going to try to sell it to me for half price, $150, still out of my price range at the time. But I went over with him to take a look at it, and it was a nice prop weapon. It's an officially licensed prop weapon. It had some good heft to it too. It's a very heavy prop. And he's like, man, my kids love seeing you. I want you to have this prop, right? Just they're so happy to see you, and they would really want you to have this prop weapon. And they gave me the prop weapon, and I've been using it ever since. So that's one of my favorite moments and one of the most touching moments, because they're just so moved by me cosplaying as somebody they really enjoyed, because the kids had watched their father play it with lived a lot of the blood, but they watched him play all the Gears of War series when he was playing through them. So they had a significant attachment to the character as well. So. So yeah.
We were fundraising for prostate cancer on the waterfront, and we'd made our way as far over as Pier 21. Turns out Pier 21's private property, and we're not allowed to do that there without a permit. So we got turned around and we just went back to the waterfront. We weren't discouraged, we just kept doing the boardwalk. That was fine. Before we made it off Pier 21 though, a guy who was either owned one of the shops or was going into one of the shops came up to us and asked us, what are you guys doing? And we explained, Maritime Heavy Armour, we're raising funds for Prostate Cancer Canada. Pictures are free, donations are welcome. You know, the shtick that we usually tell everyone. And he paused for a minute, and he said, my father-in-law died of prostate cancer. And he reached into his pocket and pulled it out and just placed money into our jar. And he abruptly left. It wasn't until a moment or two later when we all realized what happened was he gave us all the money he had on him. He gave us $60. And that was that, and he just walked away. So clearly the things that we're doing make a difference in the community and really touch people in a way that you can't really in your other day-to-day lives. So the costuming really allows us to do better, to be better, and it's rewarding. But that's not why we do it. We do it because it's the right thing to do. The fundraising, that is, it just feels right.
My personal favorite, which is not as a group, but it's a touching thing to me, was a young man who was dying of cancer, and whose family was at the IWK hospital with him as he was coming towards the end of his time with us. I contacted his mother through intermediaries and contacted his mother and asked, you know, he had been a huge Halo fan and would have liked to see the Master Chief, meet the Master Chief before he was gone. So I contacted his mother, I believe it was a Friday night, and asked, you know, would it be okay to come Saturday or Sunday to see him? And her response was, it's got to be tonight because there may not be a chance to do it Saturday or Sunday. So I piled in the car with my wife, put the costume in the car, got this is late night Friday, well after the visiting hours at the IWK are generally available. We went in, I got dressed, changed in late November in the parking garage, so it was a little chilly, but put on the costume, was met at the door by security and brought to the area where this young man, Matthew Lacombe, was living out his last time with us, and had to wait, talking to his aunt and other members of his family who were an incredibly strong group of people. They could come from New Brunswick and trying to get the best help they could for him. After talking to them for a while, Matthew was available for a few moments to talk with us. I turned on 30 Years of Navy. I turned on the Master Chief and went in and did the, I hear one of my Spartans is, give me a moment. Hear one of my Spartans need some help. So we talked for a few minutes. And Matthew was inspirational. We had a great talk, took some pictures, and then was able to carry on with it, and he passed away the next day. Talking to his family, talking to Matthew, as I've said, was truly inspirational. And then in Maritime Heavy Armour, as a member of the community, the next Hal-con, the community led by Maritime Heavy Armour, but led by members of the Hal-con organization committee, were able to put together a charity auction in his memory. There was everything, you know, people donate the usual stuff, great geek stuff. But I put together a Master Chief helmet, not wonderful workmanship, it's typical me stuff, but it was recognizable at least as a Master Chief helmet. But the point of that one was that was the epitome, the charity auction. And there was people in the audience who were bidding, you know, on a piece of work that really is worth $100 and $150. We're bidding already $300, $400, $500. And then a young man with the Hal-con group, the group of all volunteers, stood up and said that we, the volunteers at Hal-con, bid $1,531.27, which is what he had raised by walking around the con and talking to people about Matthew's story. So that was an amazing moment. And then Matthew's mom was brought on stage, and the helmet was actually given to her. It wasn't actually taken by the group. It was presented to her as a token of Matthew's strength and what he meant to all of us. So that, to me, is something that Maritime Heavy Armour was able to do by certain individuals, and then the group as a whole then jumping in to help out.
The easiest way, buy us a beer. Seriously though, usually we induct people into the group when we see a costume we really like and that they've done themselves and has had a lot of work in it. It's been an award at the end of the costume contest. We usually pick somebody that we've appreciated their costume and say, hey, you're part of us now. And if they want to stay with us, they can. If they don't, they don't.
I would say that Maritime Heavy Armour, for me, has been a way to touch people outside the community. I go back to things like what happened with Matthew, to our well over $10,000 that we've raised over the years for Prostate Cancer Canada, a way to give back. But for me personally, it's a way to make and keep friends who I would never normally have met. So it's become a community in amongst itself. We know each other. An exterior community recognizes us, and beyond just the Hal-con community, as I've said, Prostate Cancer Canada recognizes us. We get mentions on various media. We have friends of ours who formed like-minded groups in Newfoundland and in Ontario and Ottawa, the National Capital Region Heavy Armour Group, a group of like-minded individuals up there who enjoy costuming these type of costumes and who enjoy drinking beer and doing things for charity. There's no downside to any of that.
If you're looking at joining, find something you're passionate about and do that. It does suck sometimes when I'm going through a parade and I hear, hey chief, hey chief, hey chief, hey chief, a dozen times in 5 feet. But that one person that says, hey Carmine, makes my day. So find something you're really passionate about and follow it.